Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing? I think we'll wait for like a couple of more minutes and then we can kickstart. And we are streaming live on X right now. Let me also share that link. Awesome. Um, I think we'll wait for a couple of more minutes to sit and then we'll kickstart. Hello, hello. Nice to see you all again virtually. I think I'm meeting you guys for the first time virtually. Can you guys hear me? Just a quick round of mic check.
Yes, Shantanu. You're very well audible.
Awesome. Perfect. I think we'll wait for just a minute or so and then we'll kickstart. I'm just waiting for Ayush to join in. By the way, how is everyone else doing? How are things? Awesome. So, what else is happening? I mean, you guys, I can see a lot of Storm Watchers, ambassadors in the chat as well. So, just give me a quick shout out, guys, if you're here. Soumya, that I can see you guys. Soumya Deep, sorry if I misspelled your name. But yes, I can see you guys here. Just give me a quick shout out if you're here. Awesome. Awesome. Perfect. I think we can kickstart. I think once Ayush joins in, I'll just invite him to the stage. We already have a lot of OGs on this call, so I won't waste much of your time. But yeah, I'll quickly set some agenda for today, and then we can kickstart. So simple agenda. We'll just have a quick round of intro of what we are up to. We have Susmit, we have Vaibhav, we have Daria from the team who are here to talk more about what Huddle is up to, what we are doing, and what we are coming up with. There is some alpha which I won't be revealing and which I'll let the team share. But yes, there are some really exciting and amazing things happening at the protocol side, at the dRTC chain side, and there's some really amazing cool stuff happening on the product level as well. So I think without wasting much time, over to, over to you, Susmit. So, what is happening on the company level? The team is excited. Everybody in the community is super excited. I can see a lot of exciting messages in DM saying, "What's next? What is these media notes thing happening all around?" So, would love if you can share like some bits about what is this all, media notes about, and some throw some lights around it. Over to you, sir.
Awesome. Yep. Thanks a lot. Like this is one of the first community call, and I'm so happy that you guys are here. Like, great to see you all here. I think we are growing on daily. So like we would like try to keep like the community call more habituated and more in process. But a lot of exciting things that are happening in at Huddle in itself, right? So we have these applications like Huddle01 app and mobile app and audio spaces. So that is getting refined day by day, and anyone can use it out of the box. So on application level, it's like performing very well. Then we have SDKs. So the best part right now that we already had this web SDKs and mobile SDKs. Right now coming to the arsenal is like the Unity SDKs. So now suppose if you want to like build like your games on top of Huddle's architecture, you can build on top of it. But the most exciting development that's happening is the research and development that's happening at a staggering pace is of the RTC network and the layer 3, right? So we are already like L3 is already live on the testnet and anyone can use it out of the box. And we already have like million NFTs already live there posting. So it's running well enough on that part of things. And there are a lot of interesting updates and like testing that we would be doing of the dRTC network on just on our layer 3 itself. So suppose if you someone is like developer here and want to develop like the next generation of decentralized exchange or DeFi and anything, you can build it on top of Huddle's infrastructure, and Huddle team can like happily help you and aid you with all the development, marketing, and the fundraising and BD support that you want on that part. So you guys are like free to build anything that's there on layer 3. But if something like building like an application that is like very social in nature, right? So currently what web3 is lacking is like social applications, right? Somewhere like people can like chat and all. So there are like very few people there, but there's mass amount of capital. And like so we if we want to enable some kind of mass adoption, like where people are, we need to have like a social engagement built on top of it. But we do know that the layer ones or layer twos are as an on infrastructure level are not capable to like build applications that enable socials on those part. All our calls right now on internet, let it be a WhatsApp call, Zoom call, Google Meet, are happening through a centralized infrastructure. And these centralized infrastructures are governed by servers like a centralized company like Zoom or Google or anything. You cannot, you don't have a stake into it, right? And all of your communication is happening. We are disrupting that industry with the RTC network. So for the first time ever, you guys would be able to run Huddle's media mode. So there's like a exciting development that we are about to release to the community. So community would be able to like run the Huddle media node, and whatever revenue the network the RTC is making, it would be like rewarded to block rewards on that Huddle's media node in itself. We would be like starting it like in this month itself, and we would be taking out making sure of mechanisms so that we effectively distribute this media nodes to the end user in itself. So that's what like the all the exciting updates and research, like I have like concised it down very well. Like I have just given a very bird eye view, but at every level if you go, there's like a huge depth to it on those parts. And I think even like team and everyone have started discussing internally. So like there are like AI applications also coming on top of Huddle's infrastructure. So suppose if like Huddle infrastructure enables like this audio video calling between one peer to other peer, but if we want to like enable like an audio call between an a human agent and an AI agent, you require some kind of like infrastructure on top of internet. dRTC networks gives you that out of the box in itself, right? So we are building this like one of this innovative network that is like bottom ups, that is more economically inclusive on that part, and it's like credible neutral on those part of things. Hopefully we have like Daria and Vaibhav and other team member who are like deep into the trenches and who are like working on those part, and over like on the next part of community call they would like briefly give you all those things. But if any of you guys like want to be interested like how it works, how a person could be associated with Huddle's ecosystem, just let us know in the chat, and like you, our team or Telegram or Discord, we would be happy to take that over on that part on itself.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Susmit, for briefing that up. I see Ayush here as well. Hi, Ayush. I think we missed you initially, but yes, we were actually talking about all of the great things that are happening at Huddle right now. And one of the most fascinating questions that Susmit also answered right now was, what is Media Node? A lot of fascination around this question. So would love to hear your thoughts as well. Would love to pick your brains across what is Media Nodes and how can people benefit across it?
Yeah, absolutely. Hope you can hear me well.
Yes.
Great, awesome. So yes, apologies for joining late, and great to meet you all. I think this is Community Town Hall number one. Looks pretty awesome. Already we have like 26 people on the call itself. I think it's been almost going to be. It will be almost 4 years in October of Huddle01 right now. So we have been in this industry for a long, long time now. Started as a hackathon project and built into a completely transition to an economy now. We started off building the app, where the app was essentially the Huddle01 app which we are using right now, very similar to how Google Meet and Zoom works like. But the whole idea simply was to make sure that how can we make communication people powered? How can we make sure that the communication is open, neutral, borderless, and decentralized? And to build that, we knew that the problem is not just on the consumer app layer. The problem essentially is in the infrastructure layer and how the network has been built. But to build the network, there are two kind of approach you can take. Number one is build the demand side first, and number two, or take the build the supply side first. We realized very early on, before even if all this thing was called deepen, is that there is no point of building a deepen network on just the supply side if you don't have any demand side. And that's what we did was that we built the demand ourselves first. Because if you don't build the demand yourself first, there's no other developer will come and build on top of you. So we built our own app. It's been working phenomenally well, both on the video conferencing app, also on the audio side of things. And then we wrapped it into an SDK and gave it to people to use. And now we are powering Lens protocol. We're powering apps on Farcaster and a lot of other decentralized social. And I think Sushma also talked about LLMs. We're also seeing communication evolve from this whole barrier of 2D screens in which you're communicating to more of this immersive style communication, which includes metaverse, which includes LLMs, which includes any and every kind of IoT, robotics, you can name it. Communication is always evergreen in nature, and we are using these crypto rails to make communication much more open in nature. And now the time has come to build the media nodes. Media nodes essentially powers this call, or what we are doing right now itself, rather than having directly done by a centralized cloud provider. Now this will be run by you, me, all of us. What it does is that as the more amount of bandwidth you provide, the better basically the better the call becomes in general. So that's how the media nodes works. It's been in the works for a long time now, and now the time has come to give it to the public. uh, in bandwidth, what I'll say is that bandwidth can do a lot of things, RTC being one of the hardest use case of it. Because what you have to do is that you have to make sure that you are able to route the calls of audio and video in a latency of less than 100 milliseconds via optic fiber cables. It's a very hard engineering problem to solve. And if you can do that, you can do any kind of thing which is there in the anything which bandwidth can do. So Huddle01's network can do RTC, but can do even beyond that. So once you have a media node running, it can do any kind of things what a bandwidth-based network requires. So yeah, it's coming pretty soon. Our network will be live. You'll be able to contribute in a month's time. It's coming, it's near, and a lot of hard work has gone into it. Hope you really like it and hope you contribute to the network and make sure that our communication becomes much more immersive in nature.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much, Ayush, for the lovely introduction. I think it's time for the rest of the team to brief more about the product updates. So there are a lot of exciting things that are happening on the product side. As you can see, there is a product alpha, I would call. So Daria, our product manager, is here to talk more about the product side. So there are the stages all yours.
Okay, hi Shantanu, thank you. And hi everyone. I hope you can all hear me well. All right, it's really great to see you all here. My name is Daria and I lead product at Huddle01. So I'll just take a next couple of minutes and walk you through what we've built recently and also maybe give you a sneak peek into what we're trying to build in the next few months as well. So this is how I'll kind of divide it. I think Ayush and Susmit spoke a lot about like dRTC network, and that's kind of like the future of what we're looking at. And Ayush also rightly mentioned that we started from a demand first approach, right? So the first thing we built was the platform and the product side of things. So we can essentially kind of divide our product into three layers, I'd say. First is the platform or the Huddle01 app that we are currently on. This is the client facing layer. So this is primarily designed for like users who want to join group calls or host any sort of events. Then we have the Huddle01 SDKs, which is designed for developers who want to build applications on top of our infrastructure. And then we have the dRTC network, which is kind of like the underlying architecture layer, where all this decentralization of RTC and like facilitating a people powered communication network comes into play. So what I'll start from is like the platform side. So I'll talk about what are the updates we have on the platform side. Then I'll go to the SDK side and maybe dRTC side. I think I'll leave it to Vaibhav, who can explain in details on what's going on there. So platform side, one of the main products that we launched recently is the Huddle01 dashboard. So let me share my screen and take you there. Can you all see my screen? Okay. So previously, I would say like 1 month back, we had the Huddle01 application and we had a beta version of the dashboard where you could kind of access your recordings, meetings, and all, but it was a very like primitive version. But primary product we had was a Huddle01 application where you had like video meeting and audio spaces. What we wanted to do was kind of combine these two into one like one-stop solution where a user can use this as like a one-stop application where you can interact with our platform seamlessly. So you can start meetings, you can schedule events, as well as get all the details that you need of the meetings that you have attended, recordings, etc. So just talking about the features, first of all, you can see, so this is kind of your own personal dashboard. So this is everything that you need to interact with the Huddle01 end application. So if you want to start instant video meetings, all you need to do is go to this application. You can sign in either with your email or wallet. We now have support for email also, by the way. So you have the option to connect your email and wallet. And if you want, you can connect both. So you can just go to profile section. Here, if you see, I've connected both my email and wallet into a single account. So that is also possible now. So once you do, all you need to do is like you can click here to start your instant video meetings. And as you can see, this is going to be my personal room, right? So if I have my personal room, you can use this room again and again. You can share this link with others, and this you will always be the host of this room. And these can be used to start like instant calls if you're in a hurry. You have a personal video meeting room as well as a personal audio spaces room assigned to you. Now, if you want to schedule an event for future, you can just click on this schedule new event. You can fill in the details. You can have like recurring calls. You can have like token gated events as well. And once you schedule it, you'll be able to see all your upcoming scheduled events in this section. So it's very easy. Like you can see all your scheduled events here. And once it's ready, you can just click on join and you can join the meetings very easily. So this is another section. Then if you want to get details of the meetings that you have hosted, you can see all the meetings here. And if you click on any of these, you'll also be able to see the relevant details, like how many minutes have you spent, how many participants were there, was it recorded, was it live streamed? If yes, then like how many participants were attended this call. You can even like export the Excel sheet of those details as well. So all of these are accessible in your personal dashboard, and same with recordings as well. So this is specifically for like an individual user, I'd say, right? But Huddle01 overall is like designed for communities because like we are built to scale. If you look at our audio spaces, we are built to scale up to like almost 10,000 peers, which is huge. So in a single meeting room, that too. So if you're like, say, like an organization or a business or a community who wants to have like a more of a tailor-made solution of like Huddle01 platform, then we suggest that you go for the business subscription. This is something new we've introduced where you can purchase your own subdomain and you can tailor make it to suit your own needs. So what all you need to do is you can go here, and it's like $49 a month right now. We will soon be hosting like some discount campaigns also, so you can just like tune in to Twitter and wait for that. So once we have that, all you need to do is you can click on get started and you can make the payment. And once you have subscribed the business, I'll just show you how it looks. So this is one platform that I own called Daria01. So we can just treat this as like, say like Daria01 is a community. First thing I can do is this, I can go to hub settings and maybe add all the team members here so that all of these people who are part of this community would be able to access this common platform dashboard, right? And first of all, like, lot of advantages to using business. For example, no cap on meeting limits, no cap on meeting duration. We are going to give you like priority support. You have a lot of like exclusive features like multi-streaming, for example. Like right now, we are currently streaming on Twitter, but if it's a business account, you can stream on like multiple platforms simultaneously, which is great, which is a good feature to have for businesses. So yeah, so this is the business account. You have all the features that's there in a personal account, like whatever I mentioned, meeting logs, recordings. In addition to that, you also have like a detailed analytics. So if you start any meetings on the platform, or if you have like posted several meetings or recordings, etc., you'd be able to see the detailed analytics here. So you can also like filter by time and see how the performance has been over time as well in your platform. This is a really like interesting feature. As I mentioned earlier, our business subscription is primarily for people who want a tailor-made solution, right? So what do I mean when I say tailor-made solution? It means that you can customize the platform any which way you want. So for example, this is how I'm going to customize my platform. This is like a preview of what my subdomain would look like. So I'm just going to upload like a background of my choice. So this is just, so you can see the preview here. I'll just upload a logo. So you can do all this, and you can even upload like your own custom virtual backgrounds as well. And I can also decide like what features to keep, what features to exclude. Suppose I don't want like recording in my platform, I can totally just disable that. Or if I only want email logins, I can disable wallets and just keep email. So once you save the changes, it's very simple. You go back home, and within a couple of minutes, like if you wait for a minute or so, and once you start a video meeting, these should get reflected. Just wait for a couple of minutes. Okay, let's try again. Yes, okay. Yes. So these are applied now. So it's very simple, right? You just need to wait for a couple of minutes, and all the selections that you did in customize subdomain would be applied to your subdomain. And you can start meetings here as well. So yeah, so this is specifically designed for communities, and we have the personal and the platform dashboard. And so this was one of the main releases we did on the platform side recently. And since we did like the platform dashboard releases, we also kind of revamped our mobile apps as well. So now if you can see, we have a lot of new features on a mobile app. Like we have the option to schedule meetings, which is previously not present. Then we have like the option to switch. So suppose you have a subdomain, then you can switch from either like a subdomain view to a personal view from mobile app itself. So it kind of lets you start meetings on the subdomain directly from your mobile app, which comes in really handy. So yeah, these are a few products that we released recently on the platform side. What's new, or what do we have planned next? First of all, we are exploring a lot of like the AI integrations on our platform, like bringing in translation, transcription, meeting summary, maybe even like a help chat bot, which gives you company until you wait for other peers to join. These are all kind of like ideas that we're exploring to make our meeting product like much more engaging. Also, another thing is we want to make the whole process really hassle free. So if you're in a hurry and if you want to start a meeting and you don't want to go to the dashboard, you just want to directly start a meeting, then we are even like exploring an option to just go to a domain and you're directly redirected to like something called maybe like huddle.new, where you instantly start a meeting without even having to go to the dashboard. So these are a few things we are planning for short term. Long term, we are also planning to build a webinar mode, which is going to be similar to our audio spaces, but specifically designed for events, and which would have like a lot more engaging features like Q&As and polls, etc. So yeah, a lot of exciting things on the platform side. Now let me go to the SDK side. What did we build for builders? It seems like we did do quite a bit on like improving the overall like user experience for platform users. So for developers also, we built something very similar. which is called the developer dashboard. So if you head on to huddle01.dev, you can see that this is now like the developer dashboard. Previously, you had to go to the SDK docs and you could get your API key directly from the docs. Now, what we decided is that is not enough for developers. Getting the API key is one thing, but you'll also need like detailed analytics on what's going on in the applications that you have built on top of our SDK. You need to maybe like subscribe to webhooks. So it makes sense to have like one stop, like one place where you can access all of these together, right? So that is the primary purpose behind building this developer dashboard. So once you log in, the first thing you need to do is head over to start building. Everyone would be assigned a test API key. This is just for testing on your local system. You can use this API key, and if you decide to deploy your application that you've built on production, then you can just generate a production API key easily and use that in your application as well. Once you do, you'd be able to see all the analytics here. So right now, I haven't used any application, so you can't see anything. So maybe I'll just give another example. So this is how it'll look. So this is like an application that's built. This is one of the other like that's using our API key, and this is how it'll look. So you can get all the detailed analytics. You can filter it by time. You can even select like multiple projects. So suppose you have like multiple API keys linked to one dashboard. You can even filter by projects and see the detailed analytics there. Here again, you can add your team members because, of course, a lot of times development is a team effort. So you want multiple people to access the same details. So you can head here, and add your team members and have like a really good experience with using our SDK. And of course, for developers as well, we offer like 24/7 engineering support. So if you have any questions, you can either reach out to us on Discord or directly like book a call with us. So this is one of the main things that we launched this quarter specifically for developers, but we do have a lot of things planned for like in our SDK as well. I think Susmit already gave a update on what's coming up. So we currently have support for JavaScript, React, React Native, and Flutter, but we are planning to expand. We are planning to expand to Unity WebGL SDK soon, which means that you'd be able to build really cool like metaverse type gaming applications using our SDK. So this kind of expands the use case a lot more. We'll also soon bring in Kotlin SDK for Android developers who are interested. So yeah, these are a few things we are planning to build on the SDK side. So this is pretty much it from platform and SDK side. There are a lot of product side planning that we are doing on dRTC side too. But I'll not go into detail. Maybe save something for the next community call. But essentially, I'd say that whatever we're building is going to be like similar dashboards and applications, which will kind of let end users interact with the dRTC network very easily. Whether it be like you're a media node runner or you're like someone who wants to build applications on top of our network, we'll just ensure that we give you applications that make this process very smooth and easy. Even if you come with a non-technical background, this applications would be like a good interface for you to directly interact with our system. So that's the end goal. With that, maybe I'll hand it over to Vaibhav, who can talk a little bit more about dRTC network.
Okay. Thank you, Daria. Hi, Shantanu. Hi, everybody. It feels great to see so many of our community members joining us today, keen on knowing what have we been cooking. But before I delve into the nitty-gritties of dRTC, let me just introduce myself. So I'm Vaibhav, and I'm a part of the protocol engineering team at Huddle01, and I have been with Huddle01 almost since its inception. And Ayush mentioned that we will be turning 4 in a month or two, and it just feels like yesterday that we got together building an app, a Zoom replacement kind of app, and now we have arrived at building a full-fledged protocol and a network to power all of these things. Uh, okay, so now diving into what dRTC is. But before I go into what dRTC is, I'll just brief a little bit on what RTC is for somebody who is really new and joining us for the first time. So any synchronous communication that happens over the internet, where exchange of information or data happens with minimum latency, is real-time communication, or RTC. Shushmit already mentioned it. Audio and video communication is just a part of a larger realm of RTC. But RTC in general includes a lot of applications, which include, let's say, collaborative editing, AR applications, even AI agents, right? And with AI agents, let's say you want to talk to an AI agent in real time. That is what RTC can power. Now, why are we building? Before I go into why are we building dRTC, I'll just give a brief on how the traditional RTC systems work. So the traditional RTC systems work on the classic client server kind of architecture, wherein there are servers that are hosted by, let's say, these major players who power audio and video calls, for example, right? And whoever, let's say all of us who are in the call right now, we will join the server that is hosted by them, and that is how all of our audio and video packets are exchanged. But the problem with this method is that these servers are very sparsely hosted, which results into very degraded experience for those who are in, let's say, remote locations or very far away from these servers. Apart from this, all of these servers are hosted by a single entity, which uh, gives rise to problems such as censorship and all of those things. And there is no control whatsoever. So all of your data or whatever, it can be used by these institutions for their own benefit. With this, we get nothing in return apart from just the service, for even for which sometimes the customers end up paying a lot. So this is the current landscape of the RTC. If I had to brief a little bit about it now, coming to dRTC. So what is dRTC? We are upgrading this RTC landscape that happens over the traditional client server architecture. Now, instead of these servers, we are bringing a network of nodes that do all of the processing of these RTC. Right. And by RTC processing, it can be anything, any kind of data that has to be exchanged in real time, audio, video, or any kind of data, basically. All of these nodes will be community owned, which means that me, Ayush, Shantanu, or anybody can host these nodes. And instead of our traffic or our audio and video packets traveling to servers that are located very far from us, or that are controlled by these institutions who are owning these audio and video packets will travel to the media nodes that are hosted by us, right? And by doing so, we are also trying to create a bottom up economy for RTC, by transferring the ownership from traditional server operators to community owned nodes. Now, some more reasons on why are we building dRTC is that the current RTC landscape is pretty much monopolized by all of the major cloud providers, right? And this leads to you know the this leads to very increased cost in bandwidth. Now, why and what is bandwidth? So let's say processing of audio and video packets from one place to another is a very bandwidth intensive task. And because the entire landscape is monopolized by major cloud providers, we have to pay according to their will, right? Now, how are we solving this? We are bringing in, first of all, we are creating this network of nodes that is called the dRTC nodes. And in dRTC nodes, in dRTC network, there are nodes that we call as media nodes, right? And the media nodes will do all of the processing of these audio and video packets. So anybody with reasonable internet and compute can run a media node, and they can power calls or any RTC for anybody who wants to use them. Now, how is this different from traditional RTC? I have a small diagram if I had to share it. Okay, so here it is. So like I mentioned earlier, so instead of servers being hosted somewhere, they let's say Shantanu can host a media node, and if Alice and Bob want to talk to each other, they can just connect to Shantanu's media node, and then they can basically just exchange whatever information they want to. But now there is some problem with this, right? How do we achieve the scale wherein we want to power calls for, let's say, millions of participants? That is where this network will come handy. So we do something called as cascading. So cascading is very similar to sharding, but sharding is for static data, and cascading is for real time data. With cascading, what happens is that let's say there is Carol who has a media node in the US, and Carlos who has a media node in India, and there is Alice who resides in US, and there is Bob who resides in India. Now Alice and Bob want to communicate with each other. So instead of Alice connecting to the node that is in India, which will result in a lot of latency for Alice because they reside in US. What Alice will do is Alice will just connect to the media node that is there in the US, that is Carol's media node, right? And then Carol's media node, which is in the US, will connect to Carlos's media node that is in India. And then Bob, who resides in India, will connect to the media node that is in India. So now this way, the media nodes are connected with each other, which reduces the latency for the communication that is happening between Alice and Bob. Now with this, let's say the more number of nodes we have in the network, the scale of the network will grow accordingly. And the more densely populated these nodes are, the better performance it is for the participants who want to consume from these nodes, essentially. But what benefits will anybody have who by running all of these media nodes? So let's say I have a device which has compute that is more than what I require in everyday basis, or I have an internet of, let's say, 1 gigabits per second speed, but I hardly utilize like 500 mbps of it. Now what I can do is I can run a media node and rent all of these excessive resources to the DRTC network. And now because I am renting my resources, I will be compensated in term with um, crypto economic primitive incentives. So because all of these incentives come into play, this is also where the DRTC chain, which is a layer 3 that is powered by Arbitrum, comes into picture. Now how does it exactly come into the picture? Right, if somebody is running a media node, how do we know that they are doing the work correctly? Or let's say if I'm joining the DRTC network and I'm saying that, hey, I have 1 gigabits per second of internet speed, how will somebody verify that I am not lying, or they are not lying and they are actually owning what they say? So all of these verifications, all of these consensus mechanism algorithms, like proof of location, proof of bandwidth, all of these reside on the DRTC chain. And apart from this, the DRTC chain is also utilized to incentivize all of the media node operators. Now there might certainly some questions might arise, like, let's say, hey, why don't we just use Ethereum or Arbitrum to do all of these operations? So one of the major reasons for opting uh, for a layer 3 solution instead of going to a pre-built chain that is already established is that because the media nodes will be very large in number. So let's say we will be having like 20,000, 25,000, or 30,000, tens of thousands of media nodes live in our network. And do to incentivize all of these media nodes, or to process all of the consensus algorithms, it certainly takes a lot of on-chain transactions. And these on-chain transactions have to be cheap in order for the protocol to be economically viable. So this is where the DRTC chain comes into the picture. Apart from this, let's say we just launch on some chain that already exists, and a CryptoKitty like event happens in the future, wherein some project comes and there's a lot of traffic on that project, and that leads to congestion on that chain, which again leads to delayed confirmations and all of those things. This will result in halting the operations of our network, of our protocol. So we want to avoid all of those things, and which is why we need like an isolated execution environment for the operations that are happening in our network. So this is where the DRTC chain again helps us a lot. Now if I had to give some updates on what the team has been up to in the recent days, I think pretty much the media node is being tested internally aggressively, if I had to say that. And some of the crypto economic primitives are being rigorously tested on the dRTC chain. The team is working very closely with some of the top node as a service providers, which will help everybody to own a media node with the least possible efforts, let's say just by a click or two. So the team has been working really hard to bring media nodes in the hands of our community as soon as possible. I think if there are any questions related to dRTC chain, media nodes, or dRTC network in general, I would be very happy to take them.
Awesome. I think that sums up a lot about what we are doing behind the scenes of Huddle01. And I think let's open this forum for some set of questions. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll be more than happy to answer them. Uh, cool. So I think meanwhile people put up their questions. I think okay, we have one question. What is the specification needed to run the node?
I think let's say anywhere between 2 to 4 cores and a reasonable internet speed, um, 100 mbps, 300 mbps, 500 mbps, even that works, even 50 mbps works, to be honest. uh, but it everything depends on what resources you bring into the network. So the more you bring, the better, the greater the quality for the network overall is, and the greater are the incentives for it. But I think more details on these kind of questions in particular will be out with the documentation, which is currently being wrapped up, and it will be out very pretty soon.
Awesome. Cool. I think before we close, any final notes, Ayush, you want to put in for the community, to the community?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of questions. Which, first of all, I think thank you, Daria and Vaibhav. Very, very thorough. Basically, kind of a understanding onto what is happening both on the product side and also on the network side of things. Sometimes even I am also very surprised on essentially how much Huddle has grown in terms of a kind of a company itself. They're like multiple, like they're like five, six small companies inside one company itself, because we have so much work happening on the product direction, so much work happening on the SDKs, and so much work happening on the network side of things as well. So I think first of all, thank you so much, Daria, Vaibhav, for the rundown. The most interesting aspect, as you all know, I think, which people have asked questions on NE and others is regarding the specifications of the media nodes. Will be very detailed article. I think Daria right now here, she's working on a very detailed kind of an exhaustive, like a proper summary on what all things are needed. So you'd have here all the questions and FAQs which will be answered well. Uh, the best thing is that the supply side bootstrapping of the network is now getting created. This is the best time to be a part of Huddle01's family and the network. And once essentially you become a part of this network, you basically are able to do a lot of things to power communication and even beyond that. As Vaibhav mentioned and Susmit mentioned regarding our L3 on Arbitrum, so Huddle01 network can do a lot of things, and you become a very core component, very core part of it. And very, very excited to have you. And I think the 33 of us here, I think, are the most earliest entrants into the supply side of the network, which is like almost day zero. So I'm very excited to have you all be a part of it, and watch out for the interesting announcement which Parnika from our team will be doing on our handle, Shantanu from the community side of things. And yeah, the couple of questions which Nisarg has, also Kasim has on the question on the community side, which I think Shantanu and Vaibhav you can take. Yeah, maybe we can start with Nisarg one.
Okay, so the question is, if someone proves the bandwidth requirement, but simultaneously the media node provider will use their network bandwidth, how does Huddle ensure the minimum bandwidth is passed to the media node and not the user using it all the time? Okay, so I think Nisar, to ensure that all of these things not happen, uh, there are something called as the quality of service tests and the quality of service scores that are generated. So let's say anytime a media node powers any call, the network in general takes a note of what quality it has been providing and what bandwidth it has been bringing in, and based on that, it actually computes the rewards and then distributes it. So let's say if I say if I am claiming that I have 100 mbps, but I'm not bringing in 100 mbps, right? In that case, there will be things like economic gating or slashing that will come into picture, which will demoralize the bad player from doing all of these things at the first place.
There's a question, Shantanu, regarding will the AMA's OAT be available on Galaxy?
Yes.
And yeah,
Yes, Kasim. There will be an AMA, and all of those informations regarding the galaxies and other quests that are happening right now. You can find these information in the announcement very soon. Parnika and me will be reaching out to the community folks very soon. And we have some exciting things that are happening right now. The Huddle01 ambassadors, the Storm Watchers, are doing some fantastic job with writing some great threads and content around dRTC. So if you guys are interested, you guys can check that out. We also have an exciting meme competition. So there is a lot happening. So and yes, there is a lot that is also in the pictures. So if you are a streamer, if you are somebody who wants to produce content, Huddle01 is a very good gateway to get started with. So you can become yet another streamer. You can start streaming things out and some really great tools that are out there. And once again, I think if you guys have no other questions, I'll just close this our first community call. So once again, thank you so much. Thanks Vaibhav, thanks Susmit, Ayush, Daria, everybody from the team for joining in today. It was wonderful having you all. And this one of our editions of the August 2024 community call, and we'll be doing more of this. And there is exciting updates that are happening on the product side. And yes, we'll be putting out to the community and for the community. So once again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. If you still have any questions, we please feel free to put them up on our Discord. We'll be more than happy to answer them. Once again, thank you so much. Have a very good week, evening, day, good night. Thank you so much. Cheers, guys.
Thank
thanks
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks. And Swabhidip will answer your question regarding that. I'll DM you the answer on that, me or Vaibhav or Sushmit. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Cheers.